Yes. Okay. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. This event is one that we wanted to do when we saw this news story that October 29th is a day to honor coders in the UAE. So I know that it's a Friday and all of you are busy, so thank you so much for coming today. I know it's kind of hard to come out on a Friday. This is more like a casual event just to get to know everyone here and also to tell you about ways to get involved in the region if you want to get involved in the coding communities here. So this event is one where there's going to be 3 speakers today. So myself, and then I'll be joined by representatives from Microsoft Reactor, Hussam, and also Mesa from IBM, and maybe Naira as well if she's free. And yeah, basically, we're just going to explain to you some of the ways that you can get involved in the region and some of the cool projects and activities that you can learn about. All right. So I want to start with myself. So briefly, I just wanted to explore kind of what I've seen as the main areas that people can get into if they want to get into coding in the region, especially. How many people here are currently developers or coders at the moment? Okay. What about you? What do you do?
I work at Devops strategy.
Okay, cool. Is anybody here looking for a job or want to change careers? Okay, some of you. Okay, cool. So some of this stuff will be relevant for you because these are trends that we noticed also since we also have there's a branch of our company that focuses on recruitment talent. So these are also some of the trends that we notice in terms of what companies are looking to hire for. So there's basically like a few categories, right? So the first one is like just front-end development. This is basically, HTML, CSS, and then if you start using JavaScript, things like React, for example. So that's one side of it. Usually I found that if you're just starting off in coding, it's usually easiest to get into the industry if you start with front-end development first, because number one is it's easier to learn than back-end development. And the second thing is that it lets you see your work right away, right? I mean, since, if you build a website, you can actually see it and share it with people. And it's a more obvious way to actually put what you're wanting to code into practice, right? But if you build like a backend service, it's a little harder to show people it, right? So in general, if you're just starting off, probably front-end development is the place I would start. And then, of course, there's backend development. And nowadays, a lot of this is also done using JavaScript. So we notice also that a lot of companies now are hiring people that know Node.js as a main language. There are still a lot of companies that are hiring other languages like PHP and Ruby on Rails and some other frameworks. But usually, from what I've seen, it's mainly Node.js for the time being. If you get into more corporate companies, they would also cover other technologies like Java, for example. So a lot of like the corporate banks and things like that, they cover tools like maybe Spring Boot or like other Java frameworks. Also, .NET is also popular with a lot of larger corporate companies, right? But generally, yeah, I mean, that's what I found is there has been like somewhat of a shift towards, working with Node.js. In terms of mobile app development, again, like a lot of them are also using JavaScript. So they use things like React Native, for example, which lets you build mobile apps using only JavaScript. If they're a larger company, then they would need someone that is specialized maybe in native development. So they would need someone, for example, if they know iOS development like Swift or, Android, something like Kotlin, for example. But if it's like a smaller company or a startup, then usually if you just know JavaScript and you can use React, then that's enough. Next up is DevOps. So that's probably something that the other guys can talk about more, but basically using tools like IBM Cloud, Amazon Web Servers, Google Cloud, Microsoft as well. All of these cloud services. Like there's a whole industry that specializes in that area. Also, what I noticed is it's mainly larger companies also. I mean, startups still work in those tools, but generally, I mean, if you're just scaling up, then you don't usually have a need to focus a lot on DevOps. But it is something that you would need once you scale up, right? And then next up is corporate and cybersecurity. So like that's a major area, especially in the UAE. So that's mainly working with, you know, cloud systems and in the cybersecurity space. And then finally, like probably what I'm most excited about is the Web3 space, which is like basically building on blockchain technologies. So using, you know, things like Solidity, for example, to build smart contracts on Ethereum. And like that's a big space now. And there's a lot of startups and companies that are shifting some of their teams to focus on that area. And from what I've seen, it's still a fairly new area in that there's more supply or there's more demand for jobs than there is supply of people that can do them. So it's a really good field to get into now, and it'll probably be even more so in the next few months. All right, so that's like the coding landscape. Sorry. Next is like data. So data is also like a big area that we noticed there's a trend towards. And that is a little more straightforward in that usually like you either get into what's called data analysis, which is usually, I mean, like using Excel and tools like maybe Power BI and like those kind of BI tools. And then there's getting into product analytics, which is sort of like a mix of marketing and data. And then there's data engineering and data science, and that's where you get into tools like Python and maybe R. In general, though, I found that most people are getting into Python that want to get into these careers. And then there's, of course, machine learning and all of that. Sorry, I need some water.
I'll get this answer.
I don't have COVID. I just have a sore throat. Okay. I think I'm okay. 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 So then, yeah. So next up, I had a few tips for if you want to break into these if you want to break into these fields if you're in the region. So I basically have 4 tips from what I noticed, especially if you don't have that much experience. Since oftentimes people say, okay, like I want to get a job in a certain field, like maybe one of the fields that I listed, but I don't know exactly how to do that. So I found if you follow these 4 steps, it would basically guarantee you a job, or at least guarantee you that you work on some kind of project. All right. So the steps basically are learn the basics, right? I mean, so you have to know what you want to get a job in, at least. I mean, at least like on a fundamental level. You need to build your portfolio. Choose a entry point and specialize, and then show value upfront. So if you follow these 4 steps, I can pretty much guarantee you that you'll at least get in front of people that are hiring, and you'll probably at least work on some projects that can get you started in your career. So, I mean, let me go over practically how these work. So first of all, learn the basics. So, I mean, that's sort of like the fundamental thing that you have to know. I mean, and this can be done by taking a course, for example, on whatever you want to get into. If you're getting into coding, for example, it would be starting with probably web development, because that's the easiest thing to get into, HTML, CSS, and the basics of JavaScript. And yeah, I mean, you can learn to code on your own. So like, if you're just starting off, I would probably start with the goal of something that you want to build, since it's a lot easier to learn to code if you're focused on your final goal. So like, let's say either like you have a project that you want to build on your own, or you have a certain job that you want to get or be qualified for in some way. So you should always start with what is your final goal and then work towards that. Since, I mean, there's endless things that you could focus on if you're learning how to code. Like you could learn backend, front end, mobile app development. I mean, if you don't somehow set a goal for yourself, it'll be really easy to get distracted by all of these new technologies and new languages. And then just start building something. So and like learn as you go, but focus it on a specific direction and build that. So for example, if you wanted to get like a job in something like Web3, for example, then I would say, okay, choose what is the exact job that you're applying for, or build a project in that space, and then use that as what you're using to actually learn something, right? And then if you can, consider joining a coding bootcamp or an online course, since that could definitely streamline how fast you could learn. So for example, we have a coding bootcamp where we teach people full stack JavaScript in 2 months. And I always tell people that, you could learn on your own, right? But it might take you 6 months or it might take you 1 year to learn on your own. Because all the information is online, right? Like nowadays, you can find the answer to literally every single question that you might have, right? But what's useful about joining these programs is not really what you would learn in terms of just, your knowledge, but it's also in terms of having someone that can show you exactly what you should focus on and making it streamlined, and also, basically making you accountable to actually focus on a project in a short amount of time. Also, one of the frustrating things about learning how to code is that oftentimes you might get stuck on a small bug, for example, and you wouldn't know exactly what to do. And like the solution might be very simple that someone could just tell you in a few minutes, right? And that could save you, many weeks and a lot of time. And from what I've heard, like many people that join our own programs, usually they try to learn to code on their own like a few times and they keep failing, right? So they might like try to learn, 3 or 4 times and they get frustrated and they almost give up. Then they join a program, then that can help them. All right, so that's the first thing, is learn how to code. Next is, especially in the coding field, you should build your portfolio. And this is almost more important than even your own CV, since this is what employers look at when they want to hire someone, is they look at, what can you actually build? And especially, what's good about coding is that it doesn't need you to actually have any special credentials. Like, I know people that are hired as CTOs or as developers, and they didn't even go to college or to university, but they can do the job, right? So, that's a good thing about getting into coding. But what that means is that instead of showing them that you studied this degree, instead you have to show them that you can do the job, right? And how do you do that? You have to build your portfolio, which is mainly through tools like GitHub, for example, where you show them projects that you work on. They could be open source projects or even smaller project that you start working on the side. But like that's a great way to show them that you could do the job. And that's all that employers care for nowadays. Like they don't care where you studied as much or other things. They mainly care about, can you actually do the work or not, right? So also like another thing is I would consider even setting up your own website. So for example, try to get your full name.com, right? So then people would see it and they might, use that, as a way to show that you're serious, and you could put all of your projects there. Also, if you're learning, it's also really useful if you document what you're learning online. So for example, on Twitter, for example, or on your own blog, that does a couple of things. Number one is it helps you build your own network. So people would start seeing that you're serious about it, and it would build your own network. And also it would help you learn faster, because if you try to teach people what you learned, it also helps you learn better as well. So it has like a double effect of that. And like I said, it could also bring you opportunities, and people would see that you're serious, and they would want to hire you for projects, for even a full-time job. And like I said, you should make a GitHub account as well and keep, contributing to it. I'll share with you a few links at the end on where to find projects, since that's also a common question people have is, where do I find projects that I could work on for free? So I'll share some links at the end. And yeah, I mean, you should start working even on open source projects, or, build something on your own if you're passionate about it, or if you have an idea of an app that you want to build in your head. You could also join a building community. So, I mean, like what we're doing here, for example, and there's a few online that I'll share later on as well. Okay, next is step 3 is probably to choose a specialization point to actually specialize in. I mean, this is useful, especially if you want to get a job. So, I mean, for example, if you want to specialize, like choose either to like get into front-end development, or into data, or into Web3, or whatever it is. So, yeah, I mean, what I recommend is to get into front-end development if you're a complete beginner, since that's the easiest place to specialize in. Consider also UX design, mobile app development, no code. So you could learn tools like WordPress or like Bubble, for example, just to build things in a quick way, or backend systems, or Web3. I mean, like, this is mainly also what you're passionate about yourself, right? So if it's something you're passionate about, then that also helps you learn in a better way as well. Okay, and the final point is to show value up front. So what I mean by that is people will generally hire you for projects and for things if you show them right away that you can give them value. So like nowadays, you don't have to wait for someone to give you permission to do something. You could just do it and show them what you did, right? So for example, you could like start working with family members or friends that have a business, for example, and build a website for them, and that could start building your portfolio. You could go on freelancer websites, for example, and just make low offers that you want to work on a project, for example. And I mean, people might say that it's very competitive, but if you specialize in a certain way, then you can stand out. So I mean, imagine that you're the only person that's in the UAE that's focused on a certain technology. I mean, you could think about your own skill sets and like specialize in a way where you are competitive, right? There's also something called the Google Maps trick that I always tell people about, which is if you just go on Google Maps and you search for businesses in your area, a lot of them don't have websites, for example. So like you could just go to them and say, hey, I can build your website for free, or I can do it for a small amount of money. And I mean, most of them would say yes, because like a lot of businesses nowadays, I mean, they're not tech savvy enough to know how to build a website, or like maybe they have one, but it doesn't give them orders. So, I mean, like if you just go to them and say, I can build you a website and it'll help you get more orders, or, help people know about you better. I mean, a lot of them would say yes, right? Another thing is when you're applying for jobs, show them value right away. So what also helps people stand out is if you're applying for a job, actually do some of the work and show them a sample of it. So like, let's say, for example, you're applying for a front-end developer role at a company. What you could do is maybe build a sample website for them, or like a sample page, or I mean, maybe it's just like a single page, just to show them that you can do the work. And if you do that, you'll stand out from the thousands of other people that are applying, since most people won't do that, right? I mean, they'll just apply for the job and, like just, like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, they wouldn't go, like the extra mile to actually, do something else. So like, think about that and how you can actually show value right away. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. The final slide I want to go over is basically communities that you can join that can actually help you get practice and also, build for your own portfolio. So the first one is our own community here. And we have a coding bootcamp and a data science bootcamp that you could join. And we also have a lot of free events like this one here. And we also have events only for people that took our courses for our own alumni. So that's the first area. So yeah, stay tuned for more events from us. There's also a few more links that I want to share. So here are some that can let you basically build stuff for free. So these are basically project-based communities that have open source projects that you can work on. So the first one that I actually went through is called Chingu. And if you go to their site, chingu.io, they have a community where you can basically join a cohort and it's free. And they basically work on a project together. And like the only goal of it is to build your portfolio. But it's only for people that already know how to code. So like you should learn first, then like once you have some experience, or I mean, at least know the basics, you could join them for free. And then they basically put you into teams and they actually build the project together. So that's a really good way for you to actually build your portfolio. And I mean, some of the project, like you work on it for maybe 2 months or something. And some of them are paid. I mean, not all of them are. I mean, most of them are just free, but some of them could be paid. But the main point of it is to get experience, because like this will let you actually build a real world project that you can put on your LinkedIn and on your portfolio. Another one is if you want to focus on data science, then like the two that I recommend are LeetCode and Kaggle. Like those are the two that have a lot of data projects that you could work on. If you want to get into Web3, I mean, I also added this because there's some people here from Web3 as well. So there's a few that I recommend that are also free. One of them is called Developer DAO. That's a free community that anyone can join, where they basically focus on learning Web3 technologies. And there's two more also. There's one called Build Space, which is also free, and they have courses on Web3, and you also join a cohort and you learn together. And the last one is Questbook. That's also one. There's someone here from the audience that works for them, and they're also an online community that teaches you Web3 technology, so you know how to deploy smart contracts and all of that. All right, that's it for me. Thank you so much. Any questions about anything that we covered so far?
Yeah, just the discounts that you guys do.
Okay. That wasn't like a planted question. That's a real question. Like someone wants to know about our own boot camps. So yeah, if you just, so we have two programs. One of them is our own coding boot camp. So I'll show you both of them now. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. So the first one is, sorry, let me get the link. It's, oh, hey, welcome. Yeah, help yourself. So this is the first one. And then we also have a data science program as well. So we have two of them. So let me share my screen. Yeah, so this is the first one. So it starts, I mean, it's a 2-month program. We cover full stack JavaScript. It's a 2-month program. The current one just started last Wednesday. And we run it basically about 4 times a year. And it basically teaches you like front-end development, back-end development. And by the end of it, you build a full stack project, basically. Next up is there's a data science program that we also offer as well, which it's a hybrid class. So you could attend either online or in person. So there's both options. So you could, yeah, attend either online or in person. And there's also a data science program that we offer that teaches Python, advanced mathematics, data engineering, and like the goal of both of them is to get you ready to either get your first job or to switch into that career if you want to make a switch into that field. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, I mean, you can learn about both of these by going to our websites.
I mean, for me, I just want to have background. I want to switch to you, but I just want to have like a background.
Yeah, so one option is, I mean, both of these courses, they have shorter versions that only last for 2 weeks. So you could attend that, just the first 2 weeks, and that would give you an overview of how it works basically. Yeah. So I can share more information about that later on for sure. All right. Any other questions? All right. Cool. Yeah, go ahead.
Just one comment because you said build your own portfolio.
Yeah.
With a free website.
Build your own portfolio. Yeah.
Do you have any platform? Because I know one platform that you can make your own free website on GitHub.
Okay.
On GitHub. Is there another way to make it for free or something?
Yeah. So in terms of free, so I would put it on GitHub number one, and then you can connect GitHub to a couple of different services that let you host it for free. So one of them is Git Pages, which is free, and the other is Netlify. Like those two, if you host your code on GitHub, they let you, like make a free version that anyone can see by basically taking your code from GitHub, then they host it for you. So Git Pages and Netlify are the two that I recommend that are free. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask something to that?
Of course, go ahead.
Yeah, if you're a student, there's like a lot of benefits that you get from GitHub education.
Yeah,
including
GitHub
cloud
education.
credits, like even AWS credits if I'm not wrong. You can use that to host your site, and you can even get domain names. So with your domain name, you can configure email accounts for your website as well. If you're a student, you can
So what he's referring to is something called as the GitHub Student Developer Pack.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
If you're a student or if you submit your student ID, they give you access to
Like
that.
free access. Yeah. That's really cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, that's a good point. Nice. Okay. Awesome. All right. Any other questions? Is that pretty much it? Okay. Cool. I'll hand it off to Hussam from Microsoft Reactor. And he has a presentation in which he'll talk about some of the cool things they're doing and how you can get involved. So let me just open up his slides here. All right, I'll hand it off to him. If you can sit here just so they can hear you.
Thank you, Ahmed. And always a pleasure to be here. Okay, this is my first hybrid event. So I see people online and in person, and I got a few friends actually that are joining us online, and I've got some screenshots. So it's fun to be here. So before I begin, I put this very short presentation to highlight what we've been doing with the Reactor. So basically, my name is Hussam Mohsina. I lead the Reactor that is for the region. It's physically located in Abu Dhabi, and we are hubs for founders and developers around the world in some of the major cities, where developers and founders and startup founders can come together to learn about technology from Microsoft, from the open source community, from the partners of Microsoft as well, learn what's happening in the tech space, gain new skills, work together on interesting projects. And, if there is any hackathon or stuff like that, this is where it normally happens. The current situation is that we are streaming everything. So this is not limited to even our physical Reactor space. So anything we're doing, you can attend it online, and everything we have been doing for probably, I don't know, 18 months or 2 years probably has been online. There is a huge amount of content that is out there for you, and I will highlight few of the learning opportunities, how you can benefit from these things, and then we'll open up to questions, and then maybe later on we will sit all the three of us as well, and we have a conversation before we wrap up, and have some pizza and drinks and stuff like that. So yeah. This is about me. This is how you can connect with me. So I tweet about the opportunities and on LinkedIn as well that are part of the Reactor and also part of the broader team, what the developers are doing, what are the competitions that are happening, learning opportunities. So feel free to connect and follow and leverage these opportunities. So I'm going to touch very briefly across some of the latest sort of series that we've been doing. So initially we've been doing lots of sort of sessions that were not part of a series. But then we understood from the community feedback and all the conversations we had with the speakers and the members as well, that if we can split the topic into, let's say, 1 hour sessions over, let's say, 4 hour in total. So we gather once a week over, let's say, in this one, it was in January. So once a week, every week in January, to talk about AI and learn from Dalia Tariq, for example, is one of our experts that was sharing her knowledge about, what's happening in the AI space, how you can start this journey, what are some of the good learning resources, and so on. So this was one. So this is touching like one of the benefits that you will see here, across all the topics that I will share today from the past stuff and then the upcoming stuff, is some of the also trends and, opportunities where you can start to pay more attention to. And then, by attending a session or two or maybe more, there are extra work to do after the sessions, which we guide. So there is a website called Microsoft Learn, where, when we talk about AI, we give you modules, we give you a learning path where you can follow. So this is all open to the public and available, self-paced. You do it on your own. You just follow through the content. But the benefit of coming to the sessions when we are gathering together once a week around that topic is to ask the expert and, do these conversations and see, what is happening. So, there is a person, there is an expert that you can connect and ask. Another one we did on the DevOps side with Anthony Prem. This is, let's say, more advanced, as Ahmed said. Lots of corporates are interested in this domain. If you are pursuing some, advanced career direction, this is one of the interesting one. And honestly, looking at some of these topics, honestly, I come from a developer background, and most of these sessions, I'm not just the host, I'm sitting as a member like yourselves as well, trying to learn about these topics. And in many cases like this one, when we started talking about Azure pipelines and how we can set up the different things on the DevOps sort of panels and dashboards, it wasn't that difficult. So it's very interesting to see how you can also get a sense of what's happening and what's required on a large corporate scale. But if you are building a startup yourself, you may or may not need these kind of advanced skills. So this is something to highlight. Another thing we did is apps on Azure. This was a very fun one. So Daniel is an MVP from Europe. And the MVPs are not employees by Microsoft. These are subject matter experts who are working in the industry, some leading company, and they've been heavily involved in the community, speaking, giving workshops, and doing talks, and all these community gatherings. So we worked with Daniel on also a series to put together something. So he has a very interesting blog, and I highly encourage you to look up his name and follow. Everything I'm talking about, by the way, you will find it on our YouTube channel. I'll share the link towards the end. So you go to Daniel's website, and he has lots of segments on how he's adding features into one project. So he has this project called Cars Island, and Cars Island is like a car booking platform. Yeah, you go on this website and then you book a car, and then he continuously through all the blog posts, and also we did with the series, we highlighted how you can build certain features and then integrate and continue to evolve. So this is something interesting as well. You look at what is happening with the series of videos. You check out the MVP blog, like Daniel, is always publishing content to add, we did 4 parts here, but there are maybe 14 parts of different features and different integration, how he put insights into this, how he added, different components and different apps into building this complete solution. So this was also fun, how he can use, for example, Azure Active Directory to add users, create privileges, manage access to all these portals and all. So this was also something to look at. API management. So the API is like the interface between your website and backend and etc., and how you can connect all these things together. So this is something we did back in March. That was a very interesting journey that has also a continuation. If after you watch the sessions, you can also continue on the blog, and you can always see what Daniel is doing. On the advanced side, we did something on the security. Hisham Saad is a senior cybersecurity specialist at Microsoft, and we started talking more about the advanced security topics, all the endpoint security, how we can have this response and telemetry to what's happening with 0 days and certain attacks and stuff. It's all advanced kind of topics, but it was interesting to see. So this is 4 parts. So if you go and watch the first 2 parts, let's say, you'll get a sense of what's happening. And again, I'm like yourself, I'll put myself in your position as well. I was learning about all of these topics throughout these series, and touching here and there. Maybe I wouldn't, you also as a developer in your day, you wouldn't maybe face these challenges, but or use these kind of technologies or features, but also always get a fair understanding of many technologies, and then go deeper in 1 or 2 areas that you find interesting. So this is also a general, a career advice. You need to have this T-shaped kind of skill set. So this is on the security, what is coming. So all these examples I mentioned here are some past stuff. What is happening next? We don't also only, let's say, focus on the developer sort of technical side, but we also have some interesting conversations. And this Reactor Community Spotlight is a new show that we're doing. So across EMEA, each one of us from the Reactors will host a session, interview one of the community leaders, and talk about their journey, what got them into this domain that they're doing, what is their day like, a little bit of, the not so technical sort of conversations, more on what got them into this, how what kind of things that they're learning, working on, where do they see the future, etc. So these are interesting conversations that are aiming to inspire you and give you some ideas into what the more, let's say, advanced developers are doing in their jobs and community space, etc. So this is something to look up for. So this is happening. Another one we're doing, and this has been going on for a few months now, actually. So this is the Reactor MIA series. Again, since we've been doing everything online, we are no longer very sort of specific into being a Reactor for the UAE or physically, tied to the location. We're open to everyone. Everything we're doing is for the entire region. So we're hosting experts and MVPs, as I mentioned. These are industry experts who are, recognized by Microsoft from Saudi, from Kuwait, from Qatar, from Egypt, from Africa, from Europe, etc., from across more specifically the Middle East and Africa region, so that we can learn from them also what is happening with their industries and share knowledge and best practices and etc. So this is ongoing, and you can also leverage that and join the upcoming sessions. Everything I spoke about is available on the YouTube channel. So this is the link to the YouTube. You can use this short link and it will take you to the YouTube channel. Everything we're doing is there, and you will find lots of playlists there. This is the best way also to navigate there. You switch to the playlist side, and then you will find by topics: developer tools, cloud development, data science, machine learning, etc. And there is also some playlists that are language specific, like Arabic. So we are doing some of these localized sort of sessions with some experts. And we recently did this week all around Azure Backstage Tour, an Arabic session also with three of the main experts from Microsoft, talking about what is happening on the reliability, cost optimization, security, 5 different pillars that make a well-architected design, operational excellence, and so on. So 5 pillars. If you didn't attend any of the sessions, everything is on YouTube. You can definitely watch it anytime. And yeah, these are the different ways you can find us and stay connected with us. We send a monthly newsletter. So if you are part of this newsletter as well, once a month, we will highlight everything that is happening across the reactors and what are the learning opportunities that you can join. So this is in brief. The meetup is we have a global page for the reactor, and then you can switch to the Abu Dhabi one for Abu Dhabi. This is just for, meetup being a community management sort of a platform. But if you are also on the newsletter, you will get access to the registration links that are on our developer website. So you can, you don't necessarily need to be part of different things, but see what works best. We, the whole idea, honestly, also being part of this organization is that we need to be where developers are. So, wherever convenient, we have the channels here, channels there, and we try to connect and see what the feedback is, what people are curious to learn more about. So every time we get feedback and all requests about certain topics, we always account for this in the upcoming programming. That's in a nutshell everything. Thank you everyone for attending today. It's a great turnout for a hybrid event, and yeah, let's be in touch, and we'll be around towards the end. And now we'll go next with Masa. We'll sit around and then take some questions. If you have anything now, if you want to ask me anything, you can. But I also maybe think that if we, spare a few minutes towards the end and have a nice conversation, the three of us, it might be more fun. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions, or we keep it to the end.
Any questions before?
All good? All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Hassam. We're going to go to the last presentation now. Just give me a second to load that up. Okay. I'll just download the file. All right. Thanks, Hassam. That was really, really useful. And yeah, I mean, everyone can find it by following those links that he just shared. All right. So next up, we have IBM joining us. So we're excited about that. They're also a partner of us, and we've been working with them for a while. So we're always glad to get involved with IBM. And yeah, they have a lot of exciting things for developers. So, share this. Before I do that, though, I wanted to share a link that I mentioned, but some people on the call said they didn't see it. So this is the page I was telling you about a minute ago, which is the page with the links for how to work on open source projects. Share my screen so you can see that. Yeah, so if anyone missed it, this is the one I was talking about a minute ago, which is, yeah, like basically, like these are the places that I was mentioning. So, you know, Astrolabs, Chingu, LeetCode, Questbook, all the other ones. So yeah, you can check these out if you like. All right, I'm going to hand it off to IBM now. Thank you. And I'll let Masa take it away. Let me just open this and make sure it's sharing. Hold on a second. Okay, it's sharing in person. Let me just make sure it's also sharing on Zoom. Okay. Sorry, let me share my screen. Okay, where'd it go? Okay. The new one. Which one's the new one? I think it's this one. I'm 90.
Maybe.
At the very end?
Yeah.
This is the one? Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay. I will let you take it over. If you could, I mean, if you don't mind sitting here just because of the microphone. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Masa Abu Shamle and I'm a developer advocate at IBM. And I will be introducing to you just a second. Okay. I'll be introducing to you some of the initiatives that, you know, my team works in, kind of inviting you to, you know, join us, join our community and build with IBM developer. So for starter, meet the team. So we're a team of developer advocates based in UAE. Nayara, she's the team lead. Fawaz, Anam, Mridul, and Khalil. They're also my colleagues, and they usually focus around data science, AI, building NLP applications. Some of them like to build cloud-native applications. In addition to myself, into working with Kubernetes and OpenShift the most. They're also some of them like to build around security and all of this variety of cool technologies. So you will see each member has this unique skills that they like to present in our work. So we're a team of developer advocates, so we focus mainly on working with the developer community, and that's mainly by delivering our workshops. Over, you can say, the past 2 years, we've been, we moved online virtually, and you can see that we usually host live streams over Crowdcast, Twitch, YouTube, sometimes Twitter and Facebook, where we have our workshop series. We have variations. Recently, we did a Kubernetes security series. We also did, how we can build applications on Kubernetes and OpenShift. We also had a previously deep learning series and the AI series. So if you join us on these platforms, in addition to Meetup, I haven't listed it here, but if you look up for IBM Developer Dubai on Meetup, you will find us. You can also find us on, on different social media platforms. Feel free to connect with us if you would like to learn more. The cool thing is that in these workshops, we also like to work with the community. So we do partner with people, with individuals, with even, communities that are listed here, for example. We partnered with them over the past series and workshops that we have done. Some of them we promote to their communities. Others we build together some cool demos, and we present what we showcase. Some of them are individuals that come up from these communities and they're curious to to present in front of our audience. We just like to collaborate with the community, which is really fun, and it's a really interesting learning experience. So just simply reach out, and we're happy to find a way to collaborate. So if you are more of, you can say, an individual, we have IBM Champions Program, and this program mainly focuses towards the individual developers who like to work with IBM cloud technologies. It can be anything really. We have done so much work with them in the past, from delivering, you can say, workshops, writing content. Some of them are listed here. We have them as guest speakers in our conferences as well, which is really fun. And sometimes we build together as well. Here's an overview of what our community looks like now. Since we have been going virtually, we did not only reach the audience in the UAE, but we also reach audience across the world, which is really amazing. And it's really interesting to see how we can connect together. So this happens over Crowdcast, and many of our audience are interested in different technologies, and we always have in every workshop we have this kind of survey for the audience to tell us what they would like to see more, and we always work towards that. So as IBM champion, you can get to work with us, publish content, as I mentioned, on IBM developer platform. You can also be part of our community. So over Crowdcast, we have over 6,000 members who join our sessions every day. We also have different meetup groups. One of them is IBM Developer Dubai. And you can also work, on growing your social eminence. So nominations for IBM Developer are open now. So if you would like to, nominate yourself or nominate a friend who that likes to work with IBM Cloud Technologies, just share with them this link, and then they can apply. I believe that the next batch will be in August 2022, but you can apply for now. If you still want to collaborate, it's not really limited to IBM Champions. Any developers from the community can collaborate together with us, as I showed you earlier. Yeah. So if you are more, of a startup or would like to build with IBM, we also have kind of these programs for you, which are Build with IBM and Startup with IBM. So Build with IBM is kind of focused more towards partners. If you are interested to, build a software with IBM using IBM Cloud, you can get some of these benefits. Of course, there are some, you can say, conditions that have to be met in order to become a partner with IBM. If you're more towards, smaller scale of a startup, you can get up to $120,000 of credits on IBM Cloud that you can use to build your applications. There are different plans for the startups. Feel free to check out either of these. The links are here provided. You have the ibm.com/partners/start for Build with IBM. And then for Startup with IBM, developer.ibm.com/startups. Feel free to, reach out if you would like to learn more about these, have one-on-one conversations about, these programs or anything that I have, mentioned earlier. So our team is also known as the Hybrid Cloud Build team. So we usually build with partners, and the kind of work that we do is around, hosting accelerator workshops, having whiteboard sessions or custom workshops, building together proof of concept and minimum viable product, and having one-on-one office hours with our partners. So if you're interested, around having these to build your software for your startup, we can also have these together. Yeah. So I think that's it. Everything I mentioned actually can be found at developer.ibm.com. This is our platform where you can find so many cool resources and contents of our, code content on different technologies such as data science, AI, blockchain, application development, cloud native technologies, and much more. In addition to events, conferences, everything. We also have our Facebook group, which is IBM Developer EMEA. So it's across the region. which is really where our community like to collaborate. They can share updates, have any questions. They can also share that on IBM developer group. Just search it. I couldn't add it either here, but just make sure to join us on IBM developer MEA group on Facebook and on Meetup. And yeah, that's it. Anyone has any questions? Okay, so I'm done. Probably was a marathon, but yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you, Masa. All right, awesome. I think, yeah, I mean, now we'll just have kind of like an open session. If anyone has any questions, either online or in person, let us know. So yeah, I mean, let's start with here. Anyone want to talk about anything or have any questions about anything that we covered for IBM or for Microsoft? I mean, I guess like we could get to know each other a little bit to get started with. So, I mean, like you sort of already know about us. Why don't you tell us about yourselves? What are you currently doing? What do you want to learn also, so we can maybe come up with different topics for the future that you might want to learn. Also, yeah, let us know if you're looking for a job currently. Maybe we can support you on that as well. Or, you know, if there's like certain projects that you want to get into, for example. So who wants to go first? Let's start with you. Welcome. Nice to have you here.
My name is Anas. I'm a third year computer science engineering student
Okay.
at Bitcoin, Dubai.
Okay.
And my focus is mostly on currently I'm focusing on some nice project
Okay.
to add on to my CV because I'm trying to apply for masters.
Okay.
So that's about it.
Okay. So like what kind of projects are you looking for in general?
I just got into the field. I still have so much more to explore.
Okay. So you're just exploring.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Welcome. Nice to have you here. You're welcome. Nice to have you.
Hi, I'm Roman. Same computer science third year from Bitcoin.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
My focus is more into data analyst or things like that, but I haven't really like gotten how I want to get into that field.
Okay. Cool.
So I'm still on that exploring stage of life. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Nice to have you here. So like, I mean, but is there any technology that you maybe are more passionate about, or I mean, like I don't know, like front end development or machine learning or anything like that? I mean, is there like an area that you like more than some other area, or not really yet? Still
I'm
early.
not sure on which side I really want to like
Okay.
move forward to.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, like you're still exploring, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Nice. Nice to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice. I think I already met you. You're the Web3 guy, right?
I'm not the Web3 guy. Okay, let me just give myself an introduction here. I'm Chaitanya. I'm a third year undergrad at IMT Dubai.
Okay.
I am currently a software engineer with Questbook, which is a YC funded startup. And previous to that, I've worked with Wikimedia Foundation on NLP. So I have some experience working on scalable machine learning, especially with a focus on explainability.
Okay.
Right. After Wikimedia, I worked with a startup here in Dubai as their head of NLP, and I also have brief interests in quantum. So I did try at IBM for that, by the way.
Quantum computing?
Yeah. And I'm really excited for Abu Dhabi's quantum computer. So yeah, that's about me.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So like, how can people get involved here with what you're doing with Questbook in the region?
With
or like in Dubai, for
right?
example?
So things are shifting really quick in Web3 and in Questbook. And I think the best way for anybody to get involved with Questbook right now is to join the Discord, start doing the quests, and try as hard as possible to land a Web3 gig. Not exactly a job, doesn't need to be a job. It can be a gig, it can be a bounty, it can be whatever. As long as you're learning Web3 and applying it somewhere, that's getting you closer to where unlocking the potential of Web3 for for your life, right? So if you don't mind, I would just like to give everyone a brief about Questbook.
Yeah.
Right. So Questbook is a company that is going to change education for Web3 and every other field in general. And what we are currently the largest blockchain community in the world. And I want Dubai to be the hub for blockchain in the coming years. That's my personal goal as someone who works at Questbook, right? And how you can be a part of Questbook is just I can send out the Discord server link. You can ask your questions there, learn Web3, and land gigs, land Web3 gigs that actually help you learn and earn at the same time. So it's a really cool concept. I only work with companies that I identify with. I work with nonprofits. I work with startups, and for me, this is the most exciting thing I've ever worked on because it's about education and how we can try to make education free for everyone in the world. So I really hope you guys check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, we just talking about pizza.
That's important.
The time is freezing. I'm like,
No. We're not gonna.
sorry, we promised. Yeah, we got.
Everybody,
That's why you exist.
Everybody doing a plug of this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love that.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, look at this.
We'll see you around. Thanks for attending, everyone. Take care.